There's some encouraging news in the fight against cervical cancer. A new study in the Lancet Oncology journal found that an HPV vaccine called Cervarix offers even better protection against HPV than previously thought. Joining us now to discuss these findings and the impact they may have on screening and the rates of cervical cancer worldwide is Dr. Jacques Moritz, ABC News contributor and director of the Division of Gynecology at St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital. Dr. Moritz, thanks so much for joining us. Let's get right into this. The headline from this is really that some believe this study shows that screening of cervical cancer and pap smears may be able to be reduced because of the effectiveness of this vaccine.
Right. So it looks like if somebody gets the vaccine at 11 or 12 before sexually active, that this may actually alleviate the need to get pap smears. Now we're jumping way ahead, but that's reading into these studies. And one of the studies was done in Finland, and the person said, we think that if our data is correct, that maybe one pap smear in a woman's life will be necessary.
Basically, this study showed that this specific vaccine protects against other strains of HPV that it wasn't even designed to target against. So let's get into the basics.
Okay.
How many strains of HPV are there?
Well, there's over 120 strains. There's about 10 very bad strains. We call them oncogenic strains of HPV. So that can cause cervical cancer or even pre-cervical cancer. So the bad ones are 16, 18. There are two vaccines, Gardasil, which is the, I don't want to call it the older one, but the first one, and that covers 16, 18, and 611. 611 are the ones that cause wart, and this new one, Cervarix, which just covered 16, 18. And you'd say, well, why wouldn't I want to take the one that covers 4 instead of the one that covers 2? The importance of these studies, and they don't exactly understand, but this vaccine seems to protect against a lot more strains than it was designed to. It wasn't designed to really cross-cover, but they found that it cross-covered against about 5 of the really bad ones in addition to 16, 18.
And thus far, they haven't found that Gardasil, the other HPV vaccine, does cover against those two additional.
Does a little bit, but not as good as this. And they're trying to figure out why that is.
Remind us how common cervical cancer is.
Right. So in this country, it's not that common. There's about 12,000 cases. That sounds like a lot. The rate has gone down and down and down. Pap smears, colposcopies, going to the doctor. That's pretty much, if you do that, the chances of getting cervical cancer are really rare. In this country, people that get cervical cancer are people that really haven't been to the doctors. It's a huge worldwide problem. I mean, 500,000 cases, I think, worldwide a year. So it's a big issue.
What about the studies conducted and how reliable the findings are? I mean, is this something that we can take to the bank at this point about this specific vaccine?
Well, it looks like this vaccine, what's important about this is we spoke about cervical cancer. Either of the vaccines tends to prevent cervical cancer. But there's something before cervical cancer, which is really just a pain. You have to go to the doctor, get colposcopies, and those are the pre-cancerous lesions. And if you speak to any of your friends, I promise you, they've had an abnormal pap smear.
Right.
And they cried at night, and I have cancer, and oh my God, there's cancerous cells. It looks like this new vaccine tends to prevent that occurrence from even happening.
There are some that say this could be an excuse for insurance companies to not cover pap smears and routine screenings. Is that something the medical community is talking about?
Well, if it really, really works and we don't need pap smears and the data really shows that this can prevent the major strains, then I would agree. We don't need pap smears, but we're years away from that.
Certainly this is encouraging
with
regards to cervical cancer and the vaccine and the capabilities of these vaccines. Can you envision a day where we don't have cervical cancer and it's eradicated entirely?
Absolutely. This is just the beginning with these vaccines. 2 strains, and we know there's some cross-coverage, they're going to increase the number of strains, and they'll probably get it up to 100 strains. It's not that hard. They have to work on it. And the other new thing is going to be for people that even have cervical cancer or have precancerous lesions, they're talking about vaccines that can cure that, that can turn the body on to fight this.
That's exciting. I mean, what does this indicate, if anything, for other cancers?
Well, that's going to be the next. This is the first vaccine for cancer, and it really is. There's a lot of resistance from parents. There's a lot of confusion over this. There's safety issues. There's been, if you go on the blog sphere, you'll start seeing mothers saying, my kid was normal, got the vaccine Gardasil, she's not normal anymore. There's concerns, do we just do girls, do we do boys?
So much
boys,
controversy.
A lot of controversy,
But still, some encouraging initial information.
Absolutely.
Dr. Jacques Moritz, thank you so much.